text me his phone number?
Okay. Send.
Alright, I removed clerks and judges from the council garage. Oh, fuck me.
Hi, Max. It's Max, the mayor. Hey, just so you know, your the liquid library business was denied because I'm interested in having new and fresh blood operating businesses in Los Santos. It's my understanding that you ran it before. It's my understanding that there's not really any difference between how it was operated and how it was presented. Also, there's a lot of work that was requested to be done that can't be done.
I'm merging brands into... Fuck, I don't need that. Stop. Why do I not have the...
I'm not opposed to someone operating the liquid library for profit in the future. But for now, under my mayorship, I'm going to make sure...
Basically all crime except computer stuff is bottlenecked by the sewers? Yeah, well...
Before. That's all. Yeah. Look, if you want to... You can try and bamboozle the next mayor. How about that? All right. Love you. Everyone here? Question mark?
I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I am so sorry, Cornwood.
No, that's my.
Oh,
that's on me. That's
God.
me. That is
Can I give you a
entirely my fault.
bandage?
No, I don't deserve one.
I
That
am
was
so
entirely-
sorry.
No, that is. Do not worry.
I apologize.
I deserve that.
On that note, would it be okay if Miss Petros gave her her pitch to us, since she's clearly
Yes.
fired up?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
What a great start. Hi, Council. How you guys doing today? How's it?
Hi,
Hello.
Oshira.
Oshira. Hello, I'm Oshira Petros, for those of you who do not know me. I'm here today to talk to you guys about PD Toe, but a bit of a different take on PD Toe than what it used to be. Obviously, it's still, going to be a pretty traditional PD Toe in the sense that we're there to, tow vehicles for PD. But something that I'm looking to do, that I'm willing to also discuss with council if it's possible or not, is whether or not PD tow when they're not actively towing, if
Not
they
like
would
the-
have
okay.
the ability
Well,
to
you
also
guys-
do
okay.
basic,
You
and I
should
want
have
to
seen
emphasis basic
the
repairs for PD vehicles. It would be a specialty mechanic
what's
kind of
it called?
position. They
The
would not
business
be allowed to do
proposal.
turbos or engine swaps. It would only be repairs. As far as kind of like a Benny's request, all they would be able to do is handle liveries and light bars under the discretion of the chief of police and assistant chief of police based off of what they are choosing as, the standard for police vehicles. Ultimately, I'm kind of looking to hopefully work this either outside of the motor pool of PD or very close by. Now, the problem with this and why it's also being presented here is that currently in the charges that we have is that PD tow is considered a government official. And it's why I'm looking, if this does get approved by you guys, is transferring it to more of a law enforcement technician role and seeing whether or not that would still be considered a quote unquote government official.
They were going to say no because, yeah, but it's not just that, though.
Well, the reason
There's a lot
for
of things they asked
PTO
for
being put under the
in that thing that
government
just isn't
employee
feasible.
category was that there were people who would routinely kidnap, harass, shoot, stab, otherwise, attack PD tow workers. And as such, in order to deter that behavior or make it at least more undesirable, they were labeled government workers, so it would be attempted murder of a government employee to do so. That being said, I don't know if that behavior will resume or not, so I would say that probably depends on whether that behavior emerges.
Based on how the receptionists and dispatcher treated when they're in the front desk? I would assume yes.
I would also argue that I have already, while actively towing a vehicle for PD while being escorted by PD, have been yelled at by vehicles passing by that wanted to get the vehicles off the bed of the truck.
Oh yeah, that literally
Like,
happened like 2 days ago, I think.
Yes, I believe it is inevitable as far as it happening right now to that extent. I haven't seen it personally, but I do think it is just a matter of time.
Well, the reason why PD tow was created in the past was because tow workers would get called to a job for PD and then would either obstruct or assist the criminals involved. Has that been happening? Is that a concern?
As far as I'm aware, I have not seen that. I know a struggle that myself and a few other tow workers have come across is that the impound request that gets sent through Mr. Tom Towingson is not always consistent. And at times, local tow will just snatch the vehicles as well. And then there is the issue of there are some impound requests that officers can do that normal tow cannot take to an impound lot and just impound themselves. So they do need an escort. And as far as what I have gotten feedback from several officers,
I don't
at least during shift
disagree
2,
with
is there's
the
not that
take
many
new people should be the ones in charge of
reliable.
like companies now.
I won't say
Giving new
reliable. It's not the
people a
right word.
chance to kind
There's
of
not a lot of people that they trust
stuff.
to be able to handle the job properly. Nor do, in my experience, have seen any or too many of the current quote unquote tow employees that understand the need to expedite scenes when it comes to PD requests. I've seen a lot of people in tow that just kind of dilly-dally and don't understand that the whole point of what I'm trying to build is to expedite the process for PD
expected delivery
through reliable
March
services and just
28th to
general
April the
professionalism
2nd.
to be able to get them
off,
back to doing
dude.
what they're supposed to do instead of just sitting here waiting for tow to do their job.
I love PD tow when we used to have it, and I always had the utmost respect for PD tow workers. You are
Well, sorry, I gotta ask one question. Would you be pursuing an expungement, ma'am?
Yes. I spoke with Miss Siobhan about 10 days ago about all this as well. I'm well aware that I need an expungement. I'm well over 40 days past my incident. And I have not gotten a single even traffic ticket since. And I've been actively saving up for an expungement. Unfortunately, I don't I'm not like the rest of the people in the city, and I like to actually interact with human beings, so it's a little bit harder for me to earn some money. But I am actively working towards it, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Trust me, if
how
I could
much
have
do you
taken
save
care of
up?
it yesterday, I would do it. I believe I'm at 70,000, I believe. Yes, 70,000.
Oh,
Almost there.
Almost.
Okay, when was our last incident?
February 3rd. I
Oh.
could tell you that.
Wow, okay, you have it. You've got it memorized.
Well, I looked up my last incident. I got the FOIA report for it to look at it, which I
Okay,
believe was
good.
the felony charge, and I have not even been pulled over since.
So currently, tow get paid by the job when they get called.
Correct.
If you guys were not getting a job through it being marked and were otherwise simply just being called by PD or assigned a job, in the past, the way you got paid was you had either a salary or there was a PD budget, and then which PD would pay the PD tow workers out of that budget. Same with receptionists. So how would that work now?
I think given the current state of PD's budget and or lack thereof, no offense to PD currently, I think the simpler way of doing it, either to keep the same system that's currently in place with towing where you do get paid per job, I think that's the easiest way of doing it. Otherwise, in a perfect world, I would love to see almost a like hourly pay slip kind of system. That way when you're unfortunately having to twirl your thumbs because let's be honest, PD isn't impounding cars left, right, and center all day, every day, you're still able to make some money here and there. That's a perfect world, and I'm very much open to suggestions on what would work for the city as well. That's just my preliminary thoughts on it.
So if PD so you would get paid based on PD impounding the car with your escort, or how would that work?
Mega
If
slacking.
it could work the way that towing currently is, where those who are clocked in for PD tow would get the impound request that PD mark for cars that need to be escorted, I think that would be the easiest way around it.
Fuck it. I'll probably just buy it.
Random
Mattress
aside,
on Amazon.
if our new amendments to the expungement process pass, have you had an expungement before?
I have not. This would be my first.
You would qualify for the $50,000 clean for more than 30 days first time expungement.
Which would be fantastic, and I definitely hope you guys pass that.
It sounded like we were in vehement agreement the last time we met, so it seems likely, but yeah,
My
just
only
wanted
hurdle
to
is just going to be getting a lawyer and a judge together in the same room.
Miracles happen.
I can wish, right?
If you get a lawyer, I'm sure that can be arranged.
Yep.
I can make it happen. I feel pretty confident.
Well,
There's 3
I mean,
signed in right now. Sorry, go ahead,
if
Eva.
the PD tow thing can happen, I mean, I'm all for it because it definitely helps PD to expedite scenes for sure. So, and having reliable people that they can
He's upset about not being
count on
UZ, I guess, but
is
that doesn't.
good.
He can still
It's
go in
just,
there.
as long as they're all understanding that. I mean, PD tow got targeted a lot.
Yeah,
back
but
in
he
the
can
day.
still go in.
Mhm.
Like what?
They got
Yes.
kidnapped, they got beat, they
don't know if I
got
should-
shot,
should I
they
respond?
held up constantly.
There's a
So,
lot on it that I've already thought through on that front. I think it's a risk you have to be willing to take. There's several steps as far as like the hiring
fuck that.
process that I am pretty adamant about. For
No, I don't
example,
want to deal with that.
anybody who is a PD hopeful, that way somebody, in the sense that somebody has put an application for PD, I won't hire them because I want to hire people that are here to do towing and people that are, here to do the job
That
and
was a
that aren't
problem
going
before.
to leave me high and
Ask
dry once they
moves.
get hired. Now, that being said, I am open to hiring actively employed PD if they want to have a second job, take some time off duty and still earn some money. I'm fine with that, but PD hopefuls will not be hired. I'm firm stance on that one.
that's fair. That way you can have a consistent instead of constantly training
Exactly.
new people. I get
Huge
that.
Exactly.
attrition rate
That is the
whenever they
point.
did get hired or whatever. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
The way that I've been trying to figure this out is how can this work with minimal needs outside of how the city is currently structured, and the towing system that we have, it works well. Like I don't think anybody who does towing can sit there and say that there's anything like drastically wrong with it. I think the only thing that I could see is, I don't know if maybe Tom has a cousin that specifically specializes in police impounds. That would be the only thing. I don't want to see PD tow doing tows for Tom. That is for that side of, towing. This is a very like separate division of it, if you will.
Hmm.
That being said, though, I would love for PD tow to have the ability to impound illegally parked vehicles and be able to send that to your regular tow workers to be able to, push some more work their way as well.
You mentioned the part about actually repairing vehicles, so you want to hire on mechanics to do this as well?
Yes.
Would that be a requirement for the job, just like some could do it, or how do you think for that?
Honestly, that's up for discussion with the council and what they think would be appropriate with that. I think it would be a great way of being able to give people just a little bit of extra work, especially if they're waiting for impounds or just driving around and whatnot. And it's also being able to just assist PD as a whole. Again, I want to stress these are just basic repairs. It's not going to be engine replacements. It's not going to be turbos. It's not going to be anything like that. It is just basic repairs, just for the ease of, sometimes there are no mechanics around. But there's always tow around. I've never seen a time where I haven't seen a tow worker in the yellow pages. So if they were to work for PD tow, they would be able to kind of fluctuate and do both things at their leisure. But as far as if they were able to do, let's say, Benny's work as well, again, very minimal. It would be liveries and light bars, as per whatever the standard is that's set under PD high command. So if they wanted to get like big wheel changes or axle changes or whatever, like they would have to go to a full mechanic shop. This is very, very bare bones abilities here.
I don't know much about what the PD needs.
Got
so
some
I'm not
mid-nibble.
putting a code
Sorry,
on that, but it
the thing
sounds like
doesn't
a
work.
Good idea on that front.
Yeah, I've been briefed on all this, and I'm very much in support of it.
Okay.
The way I look at it, it's I know it's a bit of a tall ask to be able to do both. I'm well aware of
Let me
this.
check if I can
The way
set
I
the
look at it is
monster
it's
T for
efficiency's
this.
sake. It's being able to have, for all intents and purposes, a one-stop shop. That way we're able to get officers back on the road a lot quicker, a lot more consistently, and just letting them be able to do things that their job requires without having to sit there and go, crap, I need to fix my vehicle and there's no tow workers or there's no repairmen or whatever, and now I'm in a chase and I can't go do my job. Like, it's being able to assist in that so that the efficiency is there and that they're able to do what they need to do quicker. That's the goal.
If you have any questions in regard to the police side, we are here if you need to ask us anything.
I guess for y'all as well. Does this seem like something you'd be interested in?
I think a lot of us have already spoken to a sharer. This is something that would grow. Currently, officers pay cash out of our own pockets if it is a vehicle that needs to be towed. Yes, there are times where no one is available in the lemon list for towing. Again, we do pay for it ourselves. We don't have a budget to take money out of to pay for towing. And if our force increases, then yes, I can definitely see a need for PD tow.
I don't know much about how it all work, but I like the idea. That's my take.
Random aside.
Fix a chair.
I know I talked to Barrick about this briefly. What if that 15% commission on fines just goes straight to the PD budget? How do you feel about that, Ruby?
I think it should have been like that from the beginning.
All right, let me see if I can.
For example, we had a situation today when we had over 10 officers respond. We were able to catch 3 out of 4 suspects. So that means only 3 individuals who processed those 3 individuals get a 15% kickback. Most of the time, if you're an FTO and you want to help your cadet will do the processing. So they get the 15% and we end up getting nothing. So the more senior officers who are giving the work to the lower ones are getting the 15%, and absolutely nothing goes into any kind of PD budget. So I agree it should go into a pool.
Okay. I'll make that suggestion to the federal government.
Quick question.
What up?
Number one,
It
that
should
is
work.
capped.
I don't
Is
think
it
I can
possible to get that not
replay.
capped?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
I'm staying another 2
wanted
months.
to ask the question. Then
Yeah.
in that case, could we get it up to 20%?
I'll ask.
Okay. PD toe thoughts, everyone, please.
I talked to a share about this before. She said I'm a big fan in general.
Sounds good to me as well.
Yeah, I'm for it. Yeah.
I'm also for it.
So
Yay.
you're proposing a business.
Technically, yes. The biggest struggle, which Crane did kind of address, was whether or not this was considered
This is a test.
hybrid government
Smile.
position or not, because I know that kind of differentiates how this
Oh, it's back to
is
being plankton.
taken care of.
Can it not be just random?
Nope. What if the police department just hired you and you just worked like directly with them like that?
I'd have to defer to PD on that one if they would be okay with that.
Sumer.
Just I mean, you would have access to documents that might potentially be not for your eyes.
Tobii smells
if you were given the same permissions that like a regular officer would have. And I don't think there's really a way to differentiate
sounds like
between
not
hey, I'm just a worker and not like a
There
cop.
is.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
we can create some kind of.
I can do that on the
separate
MDT right now.
rule. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey.
Would she be receiving the same pay?
No, so pay is tied to me hiring or Barrick hiring them via their state ID, access is handled by MDT.
Okay, so you could just
There are, however, there are base levels of access ascribed to certain positions.
Yeah.
So we would need to ensure that we were able to restrict past the base level of the position.
Okay, so I mean, Ash Chief Oshira, would you be amenable to kind of like that as a starting point for you to be able to operate PD tow?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So
I
so
don't
long as
have a problem with that. My only concern is being able to physically pull out tow trucks. That may have to be something that you do off duty and then bring it to wherever. If that makes I don't know how that works.
That does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's that and the whole money kind of thing that Ruby mentioned as well.
Mm-hmm.
What money thing?
Like how they get, if they get, well, I guess they would get paid naturally. Never mind.
Yeah. It sounds like Oshira's concern is that she wouldn't be able to actually tow stuff, right?
Correct, or be able to actually impound things. I'm all for the idea of that's how we could at least get this started while other things are being worked on. I'm totally fine with that. I'm open to it. I just want to make sure that we're clear that there will be limitations.
Well, cops can impound.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
that you wouldn't. I guess I don't really fully understand how the process works. Like I feel like they flag it and then you come pick it up and then you bring it to the impound lot.
Yeah,
Do you-
depending on the charge that it's getting
Correct.
put on it. Yeah.
Do you get paid for delivering the car?
Yes. If
Like,
if
is
it
it a lot of
sent
money?
through that's a very hard question to answer because Tom is a little picky on
Okay.
how quickly you get to where you're supposed to go. And I've seen I have no validity here. It's just a common thing I've
I think
noticed.
suffice to say there are questions that Max and I need to pose to the state regarding the particulars of all this. I think we have a good idea of the request. The implementation is something we'll need to figure out.
It sounds like if you
Why is there
were
one called
technically
Moist?
hired on as a cop, you would have the ability to issue those impounds. And there are certain
Kona?
basically you could do this whole thing just without getting paid at the end of delivering the car, but you would be getting paid anyway because you're going to be on a salary at that point.
Which honestly, I feel like that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
I think that would be fine with me, to be honest with you.
So why, as a starting point, why don't we do that? Right. You get hired on by Barrick and Ruby.
Hey, Tug is a big fan of Connie's.
Have your permissions restricted by Alan, so that you can't say police reports and stuff that's confidential. And then, first you're gonna have to get expunged, obviously.
So yeah, first we probably gotta get that voted on.
I'll contact a lawyer as soon as I'm done here.
And we can use that as a starting point, and any concerns about like just being able to operate that you have, you can bring up to me or Alan, and then we can forward it from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's try this for a week and see how you're able to operate and how you're able to do stuff, and just see how what you're actually like desperately needing, and then we can forward some stuff forward to the federal government.
Yeah, I love that a lot, actually.
Assumer.
Cool. Thank you for presenting your stuff, Oshira.
Yeah, of
What is
course,
his
I
music? It's
appreciate it. I
RuneScape
will
music.
go
Thank you.
get an
Thank you.
expungement.
Great job.
No,
Not yet. It's not voted in yet, so you will not.
Oh.
You got to wait till we talk.
Here,
I will
look
wait
What were
till
you
you
saying, Mayor?
talk.
at-
The door should be open still.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you to unlock the door.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I let Cornwood out. Yeah.
This is a test.
Cool. That went well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Is High Command here for a reason? Do you guys have something you want to talk about? You're just kind of
We're
observing.
The pay
hoping I have-
situation, ultimately.
Yeah.
Oh.
What pay situation?
Oh, I lowered their pay by 10%.
Oh,
Okay, but you raised the fines by like 5% and
Oh, I-
lowered
I-
income
I-
tax, right?
Yeah, I lowered the fines back down to default.
Oh, okay.
That's why they all have weird numbers.
Well, they don't have it anymore because I lowered it like literally when we took a little break.
Wait, can you clarify? The fines on the
Oh, so-
charges were lowered?
So fire signals back to 60 instead of $63.
Wait, say that again. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So the fines, like last night, failure to signal was $63. Now it's back to 60. So it had a 5% difference.
Would you like fries
Okay,
with
go ahead,
that?
Mayor.
Allow me to elaborate. I don't think you guys are doing a very good job at actually catching and processing criminals. I think that there is rampant crime in certain aspects and parts of the island. And in order to kind of crack down on that, we are going to operate on a quota system. Now, you might be familiar with how certain police departments and jurisdictions typically are met with a quota in order to receive funding, blah, blah, blah. This quota system is simple, and I'm going to forward it to Barrick and Ruby here so that they can make a little announcement. I did speak with Barrick about this briefly last night when the idea was kind of in its infancy. Essentially, if you get 50 quota points, you get a pay raise for the whole department. And certain crimes that I believe, and from what I have heard from other people that are currently kind of running wild, are being targeted by this quota system. And I will just read off some examples, okay? Traffic citations. Obviously, we don't need people speeding through the city and stuff. I know that's kind of like the LSPD's forte currently. Is going to be worth 0.1 quota points.
How is this going to be
joyriding? A big stolen car problem. It's going to be 0.5 quota points. Bootlegging, 1 quota point. Money laundering, 3.0 quota points. Criminal possession of a firearm, 4.0 quota points. Sanitation robbery, huge fucking problem right now. 5 quota points. Adoption fraud, 10 quota points. I don't really expect you guys to get that one. And I set a little goal for this week, starting today, of 50 quota points. If you're able to rack up that many points, you guys get a pay raise. And now you might be thinking, Mayor, what if we catch someone doing adoption fraud while robbing sanitation and they had a firearm that they weren't supposed to have, but also they were money laundering, blah, blah, blah. Basically, the highest point worth charge is what takes precedent. You can only get credit for one of these on an incident, right? So if a sanitation robbery is happening and the guy had a gun that he wasn't supposed to have, obviously he would technically qualify for 9 quota points, but wait, you only get credit for one, the root issue, which is the sanitation robbery. So it would be the highest one, 5 quota points. Simple. This is to disincentivize charge stacking or people trying to fish for
thank you,
trying to reach the quota point ASAP. Instead of the purpose of this system is to spread out and to target certain crimes that I have observed to be a huge problem, instead of just kind of sitting in the city and issuing speeding tickets. Hopefully that allows some insight into my thought process. This is why I wanted to be onboarded as well, so that I could go through and I could, tally up all your guys' points and stuff. This counts for all shifts. I think 50 points with this current system is more than achievable. In
What's
fact,
the time period?
Get a week, 1 week.
So at the end of the week, you're going to go through every single report and add this all up yourself?
Yeah.
I am Sonic.
Yeah.
I am Speed.
Sounds like
So will we be putting a halt to recruitment?
No. What?
Well, it's just I don't. Are there quota points for onboarding and for training and for academy? Are there any points for that?
No.
Ooh, she got him there.
Will you be adding points for police work other than citations and tickets and arrests?
The issue with awarding points for that is retention, right? Not it's hard to say, sure, you hire someone, you send them through academy and stuff, but how can I be sure that that person is going to be actively and diligently working a month from now, right? The purpose of this quota system is to target specific crimes. I will say I'm very appreciative, and I think it's an extremely valuable job to actually take hours out of your day to run those academies and to teach new cops how to be cops. And I would be interested in discussing some form of bonus for people who do that, monetary bonus. But there are a lot of cops, at least for for example, I think Shift 2 could probably take care of this quota by themselves. But yeah.
So what is the monetary gain should we hit this?
I'll raise it by 5%.
What was it lowered by?
10%. But conversely, if you guys are unable to meet this I think it's a very reasonable quota, I will unfortunately probably have to lower your pay.
Well, we already have people that are not willing to come on duty, so
quite
it'll just
frankly,
continue.
You've already made things worse, if I'm being entirely honest. So
what made worse?
In terms of just unit numbers on duty, since you made the change to the pay, things are already worse.
The difference is a matter of, I don't know, $600-$700 a day.
Well, yeah, because people would rather work other jobs in the city where they can actually make money instead of the job that we selected them and hired them to do, which everybody else is going to make more money than them, and they have to do twice, 3 times, 10 times the work, and it's just, I don't know.
If the incentive or calculus for being a police officer is income, then we have all failed.
Yeah.
I look, and I know
I don't think you're listening to us.
I am. He just got done saying that lowering pay caused people to go off duty because they'd rather go make more money elsewhere. And my contention
for their cost of living.
My contention is that if that's the case, I don't think a 10% amount changes that factor. That equation is not superseded by 10%, is it? You're telling me that 10% is the difference between staying a cop and going work another job? I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like cops already make less than working other jobs. So the 10% is just a symbolic emotional response to something and is not rooted in math. It's not a logical choice where they're
There's no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground of the bee.
Unless
Of course,
my math is
flies
off,
anyway.
but I'd be happy to hear how.
who are the cops that are not coming on duty because of this, out of curiosity?
So it's not a matter that they're not coming on duty. It's just they are giving us less hours. So they're still cops. They're still doing, when they do come on duty, they're doing their work. However, due to whether it be, several officers, in a house trying to get a house together, or they already have, it's just basic cost of living. A lot of officers are doing extra jobs because they want to purchase their own PD vehicle. So they've got goals. It's not that they are not coming on duty 100%. It's just that we have noticed that they're clocking off duty earlier, or they're coming on duty later because they're doing other jobs so that they can pay towards what they, need to do. A lot of us, I got to tell you, the repairs unfortunately went up this week. So, almost all my paycheck goes towards a repair.
How much is one across right now?
The highest at the moment that I've paid is about 1,800.
1,800 to 2,000 is,
Yeah, somewhere in between that.
I paid 1,500 the other day, so it must have gone up recently.
It fluctuates depending on parts and availability.
And certain mechanics can offer that lower price point, but not all.
The master mechanics, right? Yeah.
And depends if they're on duty and all that good stuff,
If they have parts, yeah.
So here's what we'll do, okay? I want you to forward me the names of these people who are kind of hung up on all this stuff, and if I will speak to them personally if it seems like they're not a good fit for the LSPD because they're more focused on a $70, or what was it? It was like $43 an hour difference, I think.
I don't think you're quite fully understanding what I'm saying. They can make what I would make in 4 hours in in an hour and a half shift doing towing.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah, but hold on, we're literally right back to what I just said. You're just I'm still stuck on this.
Okay, they
if the
haven't lost
10%,
passion for the LSPD. They're still coming on duty. They're just not giving us as many hours.
So so you're trying to explain why they're not giving as many hours because it's more enticing to make 4 times as you just said, right? But the 10% change that he made doesn't change that calculus. It remained before the 10% change. So again, this is just an emotional response. It's not a logical one. I have yet to see any evidence that this is a logical, measured response about budget and finance. It sounds like their pay got docked a little bit and they took it as like a symbolic thing. Well, that's the last straw. I'm just going to go tow. I mean, they could have done that beforehand.
10% is a lot, sir.
Is it enough to change the calculus or no?
I mean, the fact that none of us were told it was going to happen, it was just a surprise,
That's not an answer to what I asked.
Say your question again.
I've asked it 3 times. Have you not been listening to anything I said?
I have been listening.
Okay,
I'm just not
my
sure
question
if
is
you're
as
listening.
follows. You said that someone can go make 4 times as much doing tow as being a police officer. Your complaint is that this is an example, this precipitous transition towards them doing that is because of this pay cut.
I'm not going to.
And you're talking about numbers, but what I'm arguing is that they would have done that beforehand, the pay cut, and it would have been worth just as much more. 10% does not make it suddenly 4 times stronger. So if it's been the same before or after the pay cut in terms of that calculus, then what we're saying is these people took the stimulus of the pay doc and it became an emotional response. I have yet to hear any evidence or argument that makes sense that this is an actual financial issue. It sounds like it's just an excuse to flip over the game board and walk outside and take your toys and go home.
Random interjection. Also, I lowered income tax from 10% to 5%. So the difference here is actually realistically more about 5%.
So can I answer?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to answer. I don't believe it's an emotional response. I believe it is the fact that we are seen as officers of the law working for the city, and that a lot of people feel that due to the high tax rate before and now the lowered tax rate, which we are all appreciative of, the fact is our pay has fluctuated, and with the amount of cost that we have to pour into the vehicles, and a lot of us are trying to save so we can purchase our own vehicles and become responsible for our own PD vehicles. I don't believe it's an emotional response. I think it is a need, and some people are seeing it as a need.
I mean, it was a need before, and they just feel even more slighted by this.
Oh, well, it wasn't my intention to slight you guys. It was just kind of, if you guys work hard, if you work hard enough, that 90% could go up to 125%. Can you imagine that? That would be great. All you gotta do is meet the quota.
I'm gonna say the math, by the way. It is $500 left for an 8-hour shift. That's what the math equates to. That's it.
Okay.
It's not like it's a giant chunk of money.
To be fair, for some people, that's enough to afford their repair.
Repeat that. Sorry.
Repeat that. Yes, sorry.
To be fair to some people, that is the money they need to afford their repair on the vehicle for the shift they just worked.
Fuck, man. Get out there on a bike then, I guess, if you can't afford it.
People are doing that.
Yeah, I know. And it pisses me off.
Shouldn't
so you just said people get out on a bike, and that annoys you, though, right? You see,
yeah, but
dichotomy between those two.
Well, of course, I look. Of course, I see the dichotomy. Okay. That said, I have no good reason to dismantle your bike unit. So, go ride a bike if you can't afford $500.
I suppose I just see an imbalance between wanting us to work harder or prove ourselves, which I believe that we already have, at the same time as building the LSPD. We're not going to be giving any kind of quota to anybody that is pouring their time into raising up the cadets that we currently have, or the academy that we are trying to schedule right now. So all of our time to get to your quota is going to be spent doing other things at the moment.
Wait, hold on. That's interesting.
I'm just saying we've got a balancing game here, and you're either going to help us balance, or there's not going to be a balance.
So you don't think the active patrol contingent are capable of hitting the quota without the administrative side also participating?
I think that it would be fair to say that the quota should span over all duties of officers. I mean, you could take into account FTO hours.
why a
There's
mattress is
multiple
so
things you
expensive?
could take into account. If you're basing it just on arrests, I personally would have to talk to Beric and others in leadership about maybe putting a halt right now so that we can test
It
how
seems
many
like it's a
quota points
shitty
a week
fucking
we
market
get.
as well.
Yeah, you guys aren't gonna freeze hiring. That's not happening.
And will you be expanding the quota points to other duties of an officer?
Look, I'm gonna be honest. 50 of these points in a week could be achieved by 5 cops. Straight up, they got a whole week. Assuming that they work 8 hours a day for 7 days, you would have to be extremely bad at your job to not be able to do that. And I know that you guys have at least 5 cops who are able to do this job, who are not operating on the administrative side. And I said it low because this is kind of like the intro, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Right, so-
realistically, it's not bad. It's very manageable. But I
Okay,
don't
but
think
you
that's
just
like,
said you want officers to work 8 hours a day for 7 days?
Yeah, like a job.
I'm looking
So
at a Nectar
8 hours a day
hybrid
for
full match.
7 days. Like
Okay,
a job.
well, yeah, they could take one day off. Maybe have one of the other cops fill in for them, like a
That's
schedule.
very generous, man.
Is every single one of the charges attached to one of these points?
What do you mean? Like every charge? No. The purpose of this is to target certain crimes.
Right. So what I would say is then that is going to lead to people only targeting those crimes and letting other ones go by the wayside, thus negatively affecting the public and the civilians.
Good. I'm not the negatively affecting the civilians part. I want them to focus on these crimes. That's why I came up with this.
I'm just going to say sanitation robberies have been brought up to me by countless citizens throughout the last week as being like a real issue. And, when it comes to your repair costs, right? Those workers getting robbed has downstream effects on the supply chain that are extremely negative for officers. So I think focusing something like sanitation robberies is actually going to help you. Like the mayor is trying to help.
Wait, is sanitation robbery a charge?
No, but if you catch someone robbing a sanitation worker, plus 5 quota points.
Okay,
Right.
but how many? I mean, for the last week, as you can see, we have dismantled, I would say, in excess of about 25, maybe even more, moonshine distilleries. So as we're curbing one crime, you guys are holding up a placard saying, "Oh no, don't worry about the moonshine distilleries that you guys just got rid
Solve
of. We
all
need this
crime
done over
now."
here."
Yes. So
I
should we
don't
get a
think
point
you-
per distillery fund?
Hold on.
What I'm
Sorry, that was
trying
an
to
intrusive
say
thought.
is that in my experience, crime rolls. There are highs and lows in every crime. When I was first hired, oh my goodness, marijuana everywhere. And so what did we do? We hunted out all the marijuana, and then things changed. It went on to Group 6
Marijuana.
being robbed. Then it went on to sanitation being robbed. And we moved as a PD to every single one of them. So I think it's extremely unfair to say, well, last week sanitation were robbed. Well, yeah, they probably were, but we've just got rid of all of these moonshine distilleries. We're rolling as hard as we can when the crime comes up.
Take this as business expense.
Okay.
Maybe.
I went ahead and added still destruction into the quota system or
Oh,
whatever.
hell yeah. Okay.
Nice.
The 2.5 quota points.
Nice. You guys could make up like half it right there.
Yeah.
Can we retroactively initiate
Nope.
this back to like 3 days ago? 'Cause I feel like we'll hit it right now.
No. Okay, so this will be for one instance. So if you find a bunch of stills together, that's only 2.5 points.
That fucking sucks.
Sounds like we're going to be lighting a lot of individual.
Is it only 5
reports.
a week?
Yeah,
Or can they like?
Well, I can't wait to review those individual reports and then find out you guys are trying to game my system and dock your pay again.
How many points we need? A
Why
week
is it
or a
like
day?
this?
50
the first week.
50 for a week.
Between the
And
entire
what gets
PD,
you
not
1 point?
individually.
I mean, let's be honest. 7 times 7 is 49. If you need 50 in a week, that means you only have to get 7 points a day. Some of those things are worth 4 points, which would only mean you would need like 1 or 2 other things.
What?
This is easy
He
as
wants to
fuck.
do in cop stacking.
Should we get like a big clock that we can put over the PD, like Hunger Games? That way we'll know when the timer starts and when it ends.
I'll make that. It starts as soon as this meeting ends, whatever that time is. Boom. Any other questions? Ruby, I understand the administrative concerns. I took that into account when I set the bar for the thingy. You should be able to continue to do administrative stuff and have the cops that are on patrol right now achieve this goal 100%.
Okay, but I don't see training a cadet as administrative. I don't see running a academy, which we need to do either next weekend or the weekend after, as administrative. It's going to take a bunch of people off duty to train cadets. We have to grow the PD. There's no other way to curb crime in our city unless we grow the PD and we train people.
Okay. I would really like to give like bonuses to people who do that shit. I know that I've heard because my wife and I interviewed a bunch of cops, as part of like the audit and stuff. And I routinely suggested that like FTOs get like a bonus as an incentive for training. Blah, blah, blah.
I put forward a request for
this was
FTO bonuses months ago.
Yeah, I feel like we're all on the same page, but I heard from several cops. They're like, that it doesn't really change.
I think this is federal thing, right?
Well, if they knew their pay was getting docked, I guarantee you they would say that differently now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm for handing out bonuses. So long as the time is logged and everything is above board, and we can prove that they were, FTOing or running academy for a certain amount of time.
Well,
then
the thing is also, I don't want to buy
100% be behind financial
mattress for a place that I'm not going to stay.
What's it called?
Well, I guess I'm going to stay
for them.
Okay. Can I just say one more thing about the quota point system?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but we have calls in which there are hostages. Those will always be a priority for the PD, and that's just the way our SOPs go. If there's a hostage involved, we're going to that call. Yeah. Probably a lot of units. So I don't know if that's set up as is, but that would be a good middle ground for the PD to have those be on your quota system.
Okay. Kidnapping.
Robbery also. If
well, look, we're not talking about every crime right now. These are the things I'm personally interested in seeing you guys solve.
Okay.
Or try to solve.
Understood.
Yeah, I went ahead and added kidnapping for one quote.
No, you can make comments as long as you're keeping.
So
this
have you
civil,
seen?
then
Do
I
you
don't
have
care.
access
People can voice
currently
their opinions.
to our, our incidents and reports?
Not yet. We need to get
a
that
comfortable
set up.
mattress that's easy to move.
So the quota point is coming
When
from.
do you use that, man? I'm still Austin,
I suppose
Texas.
the easiest way I could say is blindness.
No, I mean I talk to cops all the time.
Yeah, but
and I talked to a lot of people on the street too. I'm the mayor.
I'm looking at this one right now.
Yeah.
We've been conducting midterm mayoral approval polls and getting people's feedback. This entire last week. So this is all
Right, but you-
relatively recent data.
Right, but you haven't had access to see how much work currently do, correct?
Nope.
They have the audit reports, right?
I don't think the audit focused on those.
So I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So how is how is a point determined? I might have missed this coming in from 7 years ago. But how's a point determined, and who is a point awarded to a person? Whoever starts the report,
to the LSPD.
Okay, good.
And they're awarded by incident. So if someone is doing a sanitation robbery and they have an illegal gun, you would award the highest point for that incident, which would be sanitation robbery, which is 5 points.
Okay.
Simple.
And you only need 50 a week.
55. Now I added a couple of charges or whatever at your guys' request.
What is the base? Do you get one?
Each sort of thing I'm interested in seeing pursued right now by the LSPD is worth a different amount of points.
But does the lowest that you can get is 1?
As lowest you can get is 0.1 for
I'm
a
looking at
traffic
that
citation.
one right now. It might be too firm.
Oh shit.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, so this coming week we won't be bothered with any kind of
It's a
traffic. We'll
medium
just be
firm.
going for the
I
higher
kind of want a
points.
medium soft.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Any other questions on this?
Wait, so
I just want to clarify: is this to curb you yourself, Mayor, from getting traffic citations?
No.
Okay.
Wait, can I just ask? You were given one earlier this week, right?
Yeah. It was negligent driving.
Did our pay get rise before or after Bones gave you that ticket?
Your pay got lowered after I got that ticket.
Okay.
Huh.
Why?
I was just asking.
Are you just asking?
I was just curious. I'm a curious guy, you know?
It's a very specific thing to be curious about.
How so?
It's kind of a pointed question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you're implying something about me.
What am I implying?
I don't know, that I might be corrupt.
Did you roll a 2?
Did I even hint at that?
Yeah.
Asking you a question is hinting at corruption?
Asking me a question about retaliating against you guys for issuing me a traffic citation is hinting that I am corrupt, yes.
I was just asking for, you know, facts in order when they occurred in time.
Oh,
the thing
well, I mean,
is
that's
that
a very
we
specific fact
Pineapple,
to be
we have no say
concerned
in
about.
this.
That's all. I mean, there's a lot
It's
of other
all
facts
federal.
concerning the amount of power that I was just given by the federal government. Didn't ask about those.
I would only be interested in the ones that deal with the PD, which we've been going pretty in detail today, I would say.
Okay, well, I mean, file that away in your dossier about impeaching Max the mayor and wipe your ass with it, because I haven't seen shit yet from you guys.
Okay, well, we don't need to go get ugly.
It's crazy you seem to have an issue with the fact we're trying to work with you, despite the fact we disagree with you sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. And let's be entirely clear. The only people I need to work with in this room on this stuff is Ruby and Barrett. You guys are hearing this as a courtesy. This power is the mayor's, and it will remain the mayor's. And nothing you guys say to me will ever make me want to change my mind unless I am genuinely interested in hearing your input. This is to the council. But yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna write up a full
just admitting to it doesn't mean
dossier
that
on the quota system.
that could have been a
Should be easy
coincidence.
to achieve. We can talk more about
Could have been a coincidence.
bonuses
Doesn't mean
for
anything.
training, which I would very much like to see, and I think that would solve a lot of the monetary complaints,
Shit,
and
am I
also it
about
would
to fucking-
incentivize training
Oh,
people.
it's not even going to be
which is good,
749
because I know that FTOs receive a
fucking
lot of
Texas
burnout.
has, like,
'cause
these
it's
weird
very,
taxes they put on
a very what's the word? Draining, mentally draining job to kind of do. I couldn't do it. First of all, let's just be clear about that. Having to teach someone from the bottom up again and again and again, saying the same things over and over and over to different people, and oh god, would love to see a bounty for that you guys can collect on
for FTO sessions.
Just training in general, like academies, FTOs, all that shit. Yeah. And I will send it. I will send it to Ruby and Barrick, the full breakdown, the quota system, and if you guys have any good questions or concerns moving forward, like this isn't something that has to be amended at council. So if you guys come to me with like a good point that you would like to see it adjusted in a certain way, then I'm more than willing to talk about it and make a change on the fly to it. Boom.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I got it in a very
you guys are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you guys want. Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd love to.
So I think we've worked through all of our guests today.
That only took like I don't know how long.
So now we can start presenting stuff that we have prepared for council. Does Nakota, do you have anything to present by chance?
Oh, but I did see the turbo theft, which I brought up previously, like several weeks ago. Is that?
Yeah.
Because I got told that we weren't going to get a new charge on that. Has that changed?
So it's been brought to my attention that this is like an epidemic.
It is.
So I do apologize if we didn't hear you when you brought it up the last time. I decided that it's probably time for something like this because it's directly impacting the ability for people at Mosley's to do their job when they're getting held up and forced to essentially extract people's car parts that aren't theirs and then, you know, hand them over at gunpoint, so on and so forth. It's happened to cops. It's happened to people. I talked yesterday with Cornwood because he has a lot of experience at Mosley's, and also I bought a turbo recently, so I kind of have like a vague feel for how much this stuff is going for on the street. And I decided that the best way to do this is to specifically limit it to aftermarket vehicular parts, i.e., you know, stuff that you would be modifying your car with, i.e., the stuff that these criminals are targeting. And I believe Cornwood said that the transmission, like the aftermarket transmissions, are 10,000, right?
Yeah, the automatic I know is at least 10K unless it's gone up. Cornwood, I don't know if you can speak to that.
So aftermarket typically runs at the same cost as wholesale because you can just get those anytime anyway.
Nope.
Now I heard from one person that the cost has gone down, so I got to go check on that. But,
well, it's good if it goes down because we typically want to keep the fines larger than like a license cost or like a or you know just straight up buying it, right? To incentivize buying it as opposed to stealing it, right?
Right, an actual deterrent.
And I wrote very briefly here because I was so tired that I couldn't aptly and legally write a good little penal code blurb about this. I said, including turbos, transmissions, and other sort of aftermarket parts, you know, to cover anyone who's worked on a car has seen that there's definitely there are other ways to modify and improve cars that Mosley's just hasn't stocked for yet. So this would kind of future-proof any other forms of larceny of an aftermarket vehicular part. Boom, bop, boom. But yeah, I didn't mean to hijack your turn.
No. Sorry, I genuinely did not mean to infer that. I was just curious because it has been happening a lot to cops. It has been happening a lot to a lot of people. I just didn't know. I am curious about. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because if someone steals a car, they just get joyriding. But
important note. This would be for each part that they were in possession of, so you could charge them multiple times with this because the things are so expensive.
So any turbo and any transmission.
Yeah.
Unless is there other stuff that people buy aftermarket, Cornwood?
Right now, it's just those two things. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I believe there's a lot of space in there, so maybe you'll get some more.
Could be.
But right now
parts.
it's two.
Okay. I'm in favor of this. I've been in favor of this.
I had a just name suggestion if you're open to it. If you change the last two words, you can make it larceny of aftermarket motor enhancements. Stands for lame because it's lame people are doing.
I love
it.
that.
Oh, that's good.
That's great.
That's what I had.
Are we still a no-go on serializing those aftermarket parts?
I just don't know how we would go about. Oh, Michael, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that's like not really an us thing.
Okay.
True.
I don't personally think we should because if you start serializing, it's not. It's might.
Where do you stop?
Yeah, where do you stop? It might become too easy to track down and do shit.
Every single fucking thing of worth, then everyone will just be clamoring to get their fucking state ID stamped on it.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay. I think we serialize weapons, and I think that's probably the only thing we need to serialize. Unless something that comes up that needs it, I think we just leave it at that for now. What's up, Cornwood?
I mean, I was just gonna say, when it comes to investigating this shit, not having those serialized makes it damn near impossible.
Yeah, how do you prove that?
Yeah, how do you prove
stolen?
it's stolen
How do you,
if it's not identifiable?
I do think Judge Crane is he's 100%